Hi, it's Joe. Welcome to the Quilt Report. Well, here I am, finally done with the quilt that I did all those videos about. It's called Variants, V-A-R-I-A-N-T-S. It's about the different variants that we've been ruled by the last few years. So for the quilting design, I used 2 red lines, you know, like you get on a COVID test. But they ended up looking more like some kind of genetic code. And I thought, well, that's all right too. It's really fun to finish a quilt. You know, you made this big thing that didn't used to exist before. It's always worth it. This one I hand quilted, and it took longer than I wanted. Took a few weeks longer because of my travel schedule and all kinds of stuff. It took longer than I wanted it to take. But for the rest of my life, as long as this quilt's around, I'm not going to be thinking about how long it took. I'm just going to be enjoying what it is. I got it done earlier this week out of the frame. I put the facing on. I use about a 4-inch piece of fabric and fold it in half and make a 2-inch facing out of it. The backing, all fabric printed by my friend John Carden from Rhode Island. A bunch of his fabrics. Really nice. Then I put a sleeve on it and got it done yesterday afternoon. So now what? Well, then we got to get right back on the saddle. Back in the saddle. Now what is you end up with this. Oh, the worst thing. A blank wall. But you got to do something. So I thought, well, maybe I'll practice what I preach. Maybe I'll do exactly what I tell people that I do. So I did exactly what I tell people I do. I went and got a whole bunch of different fabrics that didn't go together. Now this African skirt I bought for my wife, she didn't like it. She didn't think it was her. It wasn't that she didn't like it, she just didn't see how she could wear it. I keep thinking I'm going to cut it up, but it didn't feel right to me for this project. I have a whole bunch of stuff that I ended up not using. Anything that looked like it went together, like this, I take out and throw away. Things that look like they go together, I don't use those things. And what I ended up with was these 4 fabrics. It's going to be at least these 3. An Indonesian print, an egg yolk kind of color, and a little black and white basket weave pattern. And perhaps this African green and blue print that I've been saving for something special. So these things, it's not so much that they don't go together, but I liked what they did together. And then in order to put them together, I decided I would use some Kona white fabric and sew some bias tape down on it. And then I'm going to cut that up somehow and use that as spacing between those other fabrics somehow. That's my whole plan. I have no idea what it's going to look like. All I know is that when it's time to get started on a new quilt, what I'm interested in is sewing, not worrying about what I'm going to sew. I started on a new project. Once that's cut up, I think it'll be interesting. So that's how I do it. And as time goes along here, I'll start finding out what it's going to look like. That's how I do it. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time.